Our position as the House Democratic Caucus is the public school system in the state of Oklahoma, our children, deserve to be properly funded. And the plan that has been laid out this session by the governor and other legislative leaders, we believe severely neglects the children in the state of Oklahoma. The math that's been proffered this year as to how we fund public education and fund an income tax cut, we believe simply doesn't add up. Let's take a look at the last 5 years. Since 2008, common education, our students in the state of Oklahoma have been cut by nearly 20%, the third worst cuts in the entire nation. And during that same 5-year period, we have seen an increase in over nearly 22,000 students in the system. 22,000 student increase with an average of a $700 or more decrease in actual per pupil expenditures. You cannot support a system. You cannot support students with a funding system such as that. And now we have the governor of the state of Oklahoma saying that we need to cut income taxes further, another $120 million. Instead of truly investing in our schools, the proffered plan is to cut income taxes by $120 million. And what will that do for Oklahomans? Will it help these students? Will it help the students that these superintendents are here to support today? Of course not. Nearly 42% of Oklahomans will receive no benefit under the governor's tax plan. And of the 58% of Oklahomans who do receive a benefit, the average benefit is $39 per person per year. So while our students have larger class sizes, fewer new textbooks, and fewer resources, we're giving $39 back a year to Oklahoma citizens. We believe that if the people of Oklahoma hear that case and hear what you're about to hear from our superintendents, that they'll join with us and call on a bipartisan group of leaders to put a stop to this income tax push and say, let's make sure the math adds up. Instead of cutting $120 million, let's put that $120 million into the common education system in Oklahoma.
And so what we're looking at now is the current funding the difference between last year and this year, right around $212 million. Now the question, as Leader Inman has addressed, is that going to be used for tax cuts? We also have, because of the intangible issue that was, the tax issue that was passed last year by a vote of the people, we are short. Our education is short another $60 to $100 million this year that we're going to have to factor in. So if you take the tax cut, the loss of intangible tax, a variety of things, how are we going to adapt? That is a critical issue that we have to address. We have the revenue if it is looked at as a legitimate service to our children, to our youth. As a former teacher and principal, it makes me sad to see it directed away from those critical things, because there is a correlation not only between academic performance and spending, but also eventually between the achievements of our students and the economic growth of this state.
We know that our schools have been working very hard to do more with less, but nonetheless, they have to increase class sizes to make up for reduced staffing. During my visits to several Norman elementary schools, the detrimental effects on our students have become very obvious to me. Seeing 25 fifth graders crammed into a portable classroom is a real eye-opener. We know that schools have had to reduce their course offerings, especially in advanced placement, arts, and the elective courses. And most famously, our national board certified teachers have had to forego the stipends that they worked so hard for. So in this case, it's not just cuts to the classroom, but also in take-home pay for our teachers.
Funding for education is critical. It's through education that people can improve themselves. This issue is not about the adults involved. Instead, we have a duty to continue asking, evaluating, and delivering what is best for all young people. It's not about Democrats, Republicans, or politics. Education is key to the American competitiveness and a strong economy. Unfortunately, the data shows, as you've heard here today, that school funding has dropped as enrollment rises in our state. Although some are quick to point out more money has been allocated to public education, the fact remains per pupil funding has decreased as enrollment has grown. We are being expected to do more with less.
With the tax cuts that we have just passed, when we allow companies to decide what's tangible and intangible, that's a cut for my school. I am one tax contest away from closing my doors. 2 weeks ago, we went into sequestration, which will cut 10 to 15% of my federal money. So this year, this school year, we have been cut in the 3 funding levels to our schools. We have been cut from the state, we have been cut from federal, and we've been cut from local. We can no longer cut education to children and provide educational services in the classroom.
Our people have done a great job of taking nothing and making something out of it. And because our educators are so good, because they do such a good job of making do, we keep beating up public education. It doesn't add up. Let's do what's right. Let's fund education the way it's supposed to be funded.